Naruto Uzumaki found out about everything. But what if once he talked to the Kyuubi, he decided to seek out the only other people who were like him, the other Jinchuriki, Gaara, Yugito, Yagura, Roshi, Han, Utakata, Fu, and Killer Bee. They will work together as they group up and reshape the Shinobi world once again. Hey everyone, I hope you're well. This is the story about what if Naruto formed a Jinchuuriki Alliance. Before we start, please subscribe to the channel and like the video as well. So without any further ado, let's start the what if. The Jinchuuriki Alliance, Prologue. They've been lying to you your whole life, Naruto. Ever since the decree 12 years ago. Mizuki sneered at the young blonde. Uzumaki Naruto was frozen on the spot, his brain racing to unwanted thoughts. He had been tricked into stealing the forbidden scroll of sealing, thinking that it would make him into a genin since he failed the exam. However, the plan backfired and it turned out that Mizuki only wanted the scroll for himself. Naruto clenched his fist and stammered. What decree? He was confused, this didn't make any sense. Everyone knows except you. The silver-haired male raised a hand and pointed at the whiskered boy. Iruka's been trying to hide it from you, even now. He'd do anything to shut me up. He laughed loudly. What is this decree? Why does everyone else know about it? Naruto yelled, clenching his fists until he could feel a small trickle of blood dropping from them. A young man with caramel skin heaved from the ground. Don't tell him. He shouted at the man in the tree. It's forbidden. Iruka shouted. Naruto was even more confused, his body was visibly shaking, he was thinking, wondering. Why? Why am I not allowed to know? Mizuki gave Naruto a disgusted look, spitting at the ground, looking at Naruto as if he was dirt. The decree is that no one can tell you that the nine-tailed fox is sealed inside you. Naruto's eyes widened. His heart stopped, then started to boom inside his head. You are the Kyuubi. Mizuki shouted at the boy, repeating his words and breaking the vow that all Konoha ninja had to take. It was an S-class secret. Naruto's heart was beating loudly, so loud that it felt as if it was beating out of his chest. He was frozen on the spot, his eyes wide and unbelieving. No! Iruka's shout rang through Naruto's head. He knew. Naruto thought. Suddenly, everything made sense. The pain, the constant everyday beating and hatred towards him. Towards Naruto. For no reason, or so he had thought. Naruto couldn't believe it, he had been lied to his whole life. The demon fox was inside of him and this was why he was so hated. Mizuki raised his huge shuriken, and with one swift motion it spun towards Naruto, aiming straight for his head. Still in shock from the information that he was given, he stumbled back and cried in fear. Naruto! Duck! Everything stopped, his mind froze, and he snapped open his eyes. When did he close them? Brat! The voice was unfamiliar to Naruto. It was deep and rusty, almost scratchy as if it hadn't been used in a while. He raised his head and looked around. The area he was in looked similar to a sewer. But he didn't remember how he got there, he just opened his eyes. Dirty water audibly dripped down and he noticed that his feet were underwater, up to his calves. What am I doing here? He asked out loud, he should have been scared, he knew, but somehow he felt at rest, peaceful. You are inside your mind. The voice said again. That made Naruto's heartbeat quicken. It didn't make sense, how could he have been in his mind? Naruto spun around, his eyes settling on a Jai-like structure where the voice seemed to be coming from. Who are you? He yelped, almost falling backwards. Large eyes snapped open in front of him, he stared back in awe at the slitted crimson orbs. They were animalistic and gave him chills. I am the nine-tailed fox, Kyuubi. The voice said lowly, it slowly came to light that the voice came from inside the cage. The ruffled orange fur of the fox bristled. Naruto fell into the water, feeling his legs give out on him and his knees buckle. But I thought I was the Kyuubi. Naruto stammered. The giant beast blinked owlishly. What are you talking about? It scoffed, if a fox could scoff. We are completely different beings, I'm the fox, and you are a puny human being named Uzumaki Namikaze Naruto. Naruto's heart stopped for about the 7th time that hour. He shakily stood up again. Namikaze. Isn't that the Yandame's surname? Kyuubi nodded. You are the son of Minato Namikaze, the one who sealed me inside of you, and Kushina Uzumaki, my former container. Naruto lowered his head. So? The Yandame sealed the demon Kyuubi into his own son. Kyuubi nodded and raised an eyebrow. I am right here, you know. But yes, he did. Naruto sighed and let out a dry laugh, putting his head in his hands. I have such a crap life. The Kyuubi's laugh boomed through the whole sewer. Yes, but you are not the only one. Naruto quickly looked up. I'm not. He shook his huge head. No, you are not. There are 8 others. I am the strongest, the 9 tails, but there is the 1 tail, 2 tails, 3 tails, 4 tails, and so on, until the 9 tails, yours truly. Feeling a warmth in his chest, he smiled slightly. So there are those like me. Yes, and you may want to go into reality again, because your sensei wants to talk to you. The giant fox looked upwards, and then back at Naruto. The blonde suddenly felt a pain and tense feeling in his brain. He groaned and clutched his head. Naruto blacked out and felt like someone had walked over his grave. He snapped his eyes open again. Naruto. The first thing he heard was his name being cried out. We are the same. Iruka was perched above him, hands on either side of Naruto's face. The brunette's tears were dripping onto scarred cheeks. Naruto's eyes looked at his surroundings. The shuriken was stuck into Iruka's back and he was on the ground. There was blood dripping down Iruka's sides, and it made Naruto shake. How long was he talking to Kyuubi? It didn't seem long if it was connected it to reality. Iruka's arms gave way and he collapsed, barely conscious. Naruto stared at his almost lifeless body and got up slowly. Ha! Even your pathetic sensei tried to save you. Mizuki yelled at Naruto. That was it, Naruto couldn't take it anymore. All of the pain and anguish that he had felt throughout the years, all of the torture that he hid behind the sunny smile exploded inside of him. Naruto glared at Mizuki, and he saw red. He saw blood red. Never lay your hands on my sensei. He spat at the unforgivable man. I'll kill you. Mizuki laughed. Come at me then, Kyuubi. Naruto heard a deep chuckle from his mind. Don't mind if I do. He blinked. Ha! Time for me to pay my rent. The emotions and heat that Naruto felt was unexplainable. Red chakra swirled around him, his nails elongated and formed red claws, his vision blurred for a moment and then adjusted into slits, much like his prisoners. Naruto simply smirked. Naruto raised his hands, making his elongated fingernails seen and cried the words, Multi-Shadow Clone Jutsu. There were suddenly millions of clones of the same Naruto with the same red chakra surrounding each and every body. The raw strength of it ripped up the trees, the grass, the air. Ha! Ah! Please! Mizuki backed away and cried in fear. The fear was flickering in his eyes until the surprised look on his face was completely overtaken by terror. Hearing all of the commotion, Iruka's eyes cracked open and Naruto turned to look at his sensei. Seeing him smile, he said, Aru, too. Naruto turned his head away from Iruka and grinned. If you aren't going to come to us, we're coming to you. Every clone of Naruto said the exact same thing, making Mizuki freeze in fright. Seeing that it talking wouldn't get anywhere, not like he minded, Naruto, all of the Narutos, attacked at the same time. The rush from Kyuubi's chakra slowly retracted from his system, but the adrenaline continued, and he continued pounding his fists onto Mizuki's face. Thanks. Kyuubi. Naruto heard a deep chuckle and he grinned. When the beating was finished, Mizuki lay on the ground, completely immobile. Iruka, feeling less pain from the injury he got earlier, stood up slowly and smiled at his student. Naruto, close your eyes for a second. Naruto, simply confused, shut his eyes and instantly felt cold metal on his forehead. "Open your eyes." He did, and he smiled, the sun reflecting on his new headband. "Congratulations, you graduate." He grinned at the blonde. Feeling the sudden emotion of happiness, Naruto ran up and hugged him, the first person who accepted him, aside from the Hokage of course. "Thanks, Iruka-sensei." Naruto suddenly heard a voice in his head again, "Brat, we have to talk." Naruto's eyes narrowed, determined, arms still wrapped around the happy Iruka. "I know Kyuubi, I know." The Jinchuriki Alliance, Chapter 2, Welcome. Naruto groaned as he got up. He didn't get much sleep the night before since he was overwhelmed with thoughts. He had just found out about Kyuubi, so. "Oi, brat, don't blame it all on me." Naruto grinned. Kyuubi was fun to talk to, although he was the most dangerous and strongest demon in the world. "I appreciate the compliment." Naruto shook his head laughing and started to brush his teeth. "So Kyu, what? I am the strongest tailed demon in the world, why are you calling me by the repulsive nickname of Kyu?" "It's easier to say, and as I was saying, since there are 8 other Jinchurikis like me, how about we contact them?" Naruto asked. "It is a good idea. How am I supposed to find out who the Jinchurikis are?" "Jiraiya of the Sonin runs an intelligence and information network, you should ask him, I remember your parents complaining about him once." Naruto glanced at his new outfit. Leaving behind the Kill Me orange jumpsuit, he gingerly picked up the shirt which still had the whirlpool symbol on the back. His new wardrobe consisted of black ninja pants which were cut a bit shorter than to his ankles, an Anbu-style black shirt and protector which was put on his forehead. He had transformed into a generic ninja student and bought it, Lord knows that the shopkeepers wouldn't sell it to him if they knew who he was. Disregarding even the slightest glance at the milk, he went outside without breakfast. He would also blame his lack of groceries on his reputation for, apparently, being the Kyuubi. Naruto looked up at the academy and entered. The receptionist glared at him and clenched her fists, as Naruto just smiled at her. Blinking, she shook her head and just turned back to her paperwork. He walked into the room and sat down. Kiba laughed and went up to him, "Naruto. This is only for people who graduated." Naruto grinned, "Do you see this, Kiba?" He pointed to his headband, "I did graduate." Kiba gawked, "They actually let you graduate?" Naruto shrugged, "Guess they saw how amazing I was." Kiba rolled his eyes laughing, and Naruto just smirked. "Someone's spying on us, top left, directly in front of you." Naruto instinctively looked at where Kyuubi was pinpointing and gave a glare which could make the 4 Hokages run for their lives. It was an understatement that he didn't like being spied on. Inside the hole, the ninjas gasped. "That's impossible. How could he know we were here?" The Hokage puffed out smoke, "Naruto's more troublesome than we thought. Kakashi will do well to take care of him." "How did the demon see us?" Kakashi turned around and glared at the man who said this. "Uzumaki, Naruto isn't a demon, the Ninetales is, and they are different." The man put his hands up in defense. "Calm down, Kakashi, I'm just saying what everyone else is saying." Kakashi rolled his eyes, "Well, get it through your thick heads." The Hokage turned to him, "Good luck, Kakashi, you'll need it with your team." Kakashi nodded, "Hi." Back in the classroom, Naruto cursed and put his head in his hands. "Damn, Kyuubi, you shouldn't have said that, now they're gonna be suspicious." "Great job. Don't blame it on me, brat." "Too late, Kyu." "Oh, shut it, brat. Don't call me brat." "Brat. Seriously. Brat. Kyu." Okay, people are trying to get your attention and you are blanking them, so snap out of it." Naruto blinked and rubbed his eyes at the sudden force in getting out of his mindscape. "Ow wow. Naruto. Are you listening to me?" He turned his head and looked at Ino. "Nope." Ino's face went red. "I said move." Naruto scowled, "I'm not doing anything for you." Sakura pushed Ino to the side. "Naruto. Move." Naruto rolled his eyes, and to think at one moment of time he actually liked the pink-haired banshee. It was outrageous. Shut up before I gut you and make it look like an accident. Naruto hissed dangerously. Ino and Sakura went silent. Naruto would usually never say anything like this. Sakura thought he liked her for Kami's sake. Sasuke eyed Naruto for a minute and decided that he wouldn't worry about it. It wasn't his problem, and it wasn't like he would be working with the blonde in any way. Oh, the irony. Sakura went silent and just sat down next to Naruto, although edging away from him, believing that he would take her up on his threat. Everyone, you are now ninja. Again and more specifically, but that is the lowest of ranks, so you will be put onto teams. And cue a string of curses from multiple genin. Be quiet, I will announce the genin now, Team 1. He droned on and on. Naruto didn't pay attention at all, until he said. Team 7, Uzumaki Naruto, Sakura Haruno. She felt like crying. And Sasuke Uchiha. Now she felt like singing in happiness, while Naruto felt like bawling his eyes out instead. Team 8, Inuzuka Kiba, Hyuga Hinata, Aburame Shino. The said shinobi nodded to each other. Team 9 already passed from last year, so Team 10 is Nara Shikamaru, Akimichi Choji and Yamanaka Ino. Ino glared at the back of Sakura's head. How dare she, Sakura of all people, be put on her Sasuke's team? While Ino herself had to suffer being on the fatties and lazy boys team. It was stupid. And could never work. Soon enough Sasuke would be requesting a team change and end up in Ino's team. The Yamanaka firmly believed all of this would occur, in her mind. As if that would ever happen. All of these fangirls are just too past the line of sanity to ever go back. Naruto rolled his eyes at the fangirls' antics of all glaring at the smug-looking Sakura, typical. Naruto laughed out loud and didn't bother to hide it. Iruka looked at him and blinked. Got something to say, Naruto? Iruka asked with a raised eyebrow. Naruto put a hand on his chin and nodded, yep. And what might it be? Iruka asked curiously. Naruto smirked. Oh look, I'm on the class bitches team. Oh well, at least I get a professional jonin as my sensei. I guess that would even out the pain. And then he proceeded to shunshin out of the room using the Tekyuhike that Kyuubi taught him the night before. Naruto sat in the academy's classroom with Sakura and Sasuke. Sakura was screaming, staying true to her nickname as a banshee, because their new Jonin sensei didn't come on time and Sasuke just really didn't look like he gave a shit. Naruto stabbed the drawing of himself and the Kyuubi in chibi form, chasing Sakura with pitchforks and flames. Sakura, in the drawing, was crying and bleeding with a knife sticking out of her stomach. Yeah. This was fun. He sat making evil giggles and laughs. Sasuke just looked at him and rolled his eyes. Weird kid. Why isn't he coming on time? Sakura screeched. Naruto plugged his ears with his fingers and made a motion. I can't hear you. Oh, I wish. Damn straight. Sasuke looked at Naruto. Why is she a shinobi? Naruto shrugged. She's annoying, loud, and pink. I wonder why she hasn't died yet. Sasuke nodded. True that. The door slid open a couple of minutes later and a bucket of paint dropped on gravity-defying white hair. Naruto cracked up laughing. He actually put up this trap earlier because he had a feeling something like this was going to happen. Naruto! Why would you do that? Sakura screeched. Naruto glared at Sakura for a second and then carried on laughing. Why was your bucket on top of the door? Their new Jonin sensei asked while blinking, confused. Naruto stopped laughing and blinked. Why was the door under my bucket? Kakashi raised his eyebrow. Touché. And my first impression? I hate you all. They all sweat dropped. Meet me on the roof in 5. Kakashi said, and he disappeared. Seriously? He comes in late and now we have to meet him on the roof? Unbelievable. Right? Sasuke-kun? Sakura smiled at the Uchiha. Sasuke tried not to strangle the pink-haired kunoichi and Naruto just smirked. Well, I'm going, see ya. He raised a hand and shined away. Naruto, you baka. She attempted to hit the already vanished Naruto. Oh, Kami. Sasuke hissed. Kakashi blinked at the blonde-haired boy who appeared in front of him. How did you get here? He asked. Naruto shrugged, Shunshin. Kakashi nodded, aw. But that's a C-rank jutsu, who taught you? Naruto grinned, one of the best. Obviously hinting at Kyuubi. Who? Finally. There was a loud gasp and Kakashi glanced at Sakura and Sasuke who were trudging up the staircase. They both winced. How do you put up with her? Kakashi asked. Naruto shrugged. I just imagine myself killing her over and over again in my head. It works out. If Kushina was here right now, she would have stabbed Sakura already, screaming at her to leave you alone. Kyuubi told him. I would love to see that. Naruto chuckled. Sasuke stepped up and sat down next to Naruto. Sasuke whispered to him, I will murder her someday. Naruto nodded, same here. He never actually thought that he could even speak to Sasuke without arguing, but what do you know? They just did. Kakashi whipped out a book. Naruto looked at it and rolled his eyes. Ica Paradise. Typical, absolutely typical. Why must it be all of the strong ninjas who are perverted? Jiraiya of the Sannin, the one who actually wrote the book. Hatake Kakashi. Hell. He even saw old man Hokage giggle while reading the book with a nosebleed. Maybe even his dad was like that. Well. Minato was nothing like that. All of the people you just mentioned are single, and Minato had Kushina so. Naruto nodded his head, so instead of having to imagine having sex, he could actually do it? Ah, I understand now. Kyuubi sweat dropped. You are not allowed to say those inappropriate words at this particular age and moment of time. He said really fast. Naruto raised an eyebrow. Strange, you perverted fox. Shut up. I am saving your innocence. Ruto. Naruto blinked. Someone say something. Sakura fumed, why aren't you listening? Naruto shrugged, might be because I don't want to hear how you want to pounce on Sasuke in the future, but that might be just a hunch. Sasuke rolled his eyes, Sakura blushed and Kakashi just laughed. Well then listen. Sasuke is going to introduce himself now. Naruto turned his attention to Sasuke and opened his eyes wide in mock happiness, yay. Sasuke-kun is going to tell me all about himself. He said in a high-pitched fangirl voice. Sasuke raised his eyebrow and said in monotone, I'm sure you're ecstatic. Naruto laughed and said sarcastically, totally. Sasuke put his hands under his chin, my name is Uchiha Sasuke, I don't like anything in particular, I hate many things, and my dream is an ambition, to kill my older brother and restore my clan. Naruto poked his own cheek, that's a lot of sex. Sasuke nodded, ha. You horny child. Naruto smirked. Sasuke just shook his head in amusement but didn't say anything. This wasn't like Naruto, but he preferred him to be like he was now than before. Kakashi raised an eyebrow at them. According to the reports, the Uchiha and Naruto hated each other with a burning passion. That didn't seem to be the case here. They were talking like normal human beings. Talk about a miracle. Now, to handle the pink-haired banshee. Kakashi sighed, okay, your turn, Blondie. Oh. Mention me. Say my name. You want them to know that I actually know you? Okay, bad idea. Change of plans, don't mention anything about me at all, okay brat? Whatever you say, Q. Naruto told him in his head. Naruto rolled his eyes, anyway, my name is Uzumaki Naruto, I like ramen and foxes, I dislike lots of things like people seeing the prison as the prisoner, and fangirls. My dream is to become the ruler of a village. He said. Kakashi noticed that Naruto mentioned hating people who see the prison being seen as the prisoner, so he hated being seen as the nine-tailed fox? Pretty obvious. Also, he said, to become a ruler of a village, not Konoha, just a village. That was concerning. Did he mean to say it that way? Did he want to leave the village in the future? Kakashi shook it off and sighed, I'm thinking too hard. Naruto frowned, Kakashi-sensei. Is this it? Kakashi shook his head, I should tell you, you have to pass the Genin test before you actually become a Genin. Sakura's eyes widened, what? Why? Sasuke looked dangerously at Kakashi, but didn't say anything. Naruto sighed, Sensei, tell us already. Kakashi gave a chuckled, out of all of the graduates, only 9 Genin will pass. Sakura paled, what? What was the exam for then? Kakashi smiled, oh, that was to weed out the weak ones. Sasuke glared, ha! Naruto clenched his fists, what's the exam? Kakashi smiled, you will soon find out, meet me tomorrow at Training Ground 23, 6 o'clock sharp, and by the way, don't eat breakfast. You'll throw up. Then he shined out. Naruto breathed in and exhaled, this was going to be tough. Naruto slung a bag over his back and marched out of his apartment, okay, off we go. I should probably tell you that Jiraiya was your father's sensei, and is your godfather. Naruto's mouth hung open, so he was meant to raise me? Kyuubi nodded, yeah, and he didn't. Naruto's eye twitched, oh we are so leaving now. Do you really think he'll be there? Definitely, I mean, he does write those books, so he would obviously be there. Point taken. Naruto ran a hand through his messy blonde hair and walked towards the hot springs. People of all ages were there, men, women, children, elderly. But he had to find only one person. And he was pretty sure he knew where he was. Peeking into the woman's baths. Naruto's sweat dropped at the white-haired man's giggles and perverted smiles. Oi, Arobaka. Naruto said. Jiraiya continued giggling until Naruto kicked his leg. Ouch! Naruto smirked and put his hands up in a hand sign, sexy jutsu. There was a massive white poof, as if there was a cloud, and Naruto reappeared with his blonde hair in 2 ponytails. He seductively bat his lashes, then he screamed in a girly voice, ah! Pervert! All the women in the baths got up and started ripping Jiraiya apart. Quite literally. Pervert. Baka. Idiot. Jiraiya tried to calm them down, a dash. Ladies. I didn't do anything. It was this kid here. He turned to point. The blonde boy turned into a girl and was met with thin air. He blinked, shit. Ah. Kill the pervert. Naruto stood outside the doors to the hot springs and grinned, waiting for the pervert to come outside. Then, dragging his feet across the ground, the perverted Sannin with purple bruises on his face, blood dripping down his nose and about 5 lumpy bumps on his head, scowled at him. Naruto grinned in satisfaction, what's up? Jiraiya turned around and fumed, what the hell did you do back there? Naruto shrugged, gave you what you deserved. Jiraiya frowned, it's research. It's called being a pervert. Hey! I'm not a pervert. Naruto rolled his eyes, oh sorry, you're a super pervert. Thank you. But I am also a sage dash. He continued. Okay then, Erosenin. Naruto deadpanned. Jiraiya's jaw fell open, huh? How dare you? Tell me who you are. Naruto yawned, my name is Uzumaki Namikaze Naruto, I'm the son of Namikaze Minato and Uzumaki Kushina, I'm sure you know them, considering you were Minato's sensei and my godfather. Jiraiya's eyes bogged, oh my god. Naruto raised an eyebrow, God will not help you in answering my question, where have you been all these years when you were supposed to raise me? Jiraiya scratched his head, about that. Naruto smirked evilly, you have nothing to say, but I want something from you for compensation. Jiraiya nodded, what is it? Naruto smiled satisfied, I need all the details about the other Jinchuuriki. Jiraiya choked on his own spit, what Ash? What? Naruto nodded, you heard me, tell me. Jiraiya looked at Naruto. Answer me this, why do you want to know? Naruto shrugged, I want to be in contact with those who are like me. Jiraiya thought for a moment and then nodded slowly, okay. But don't do anything stupid. Naruto raised an eyebrow, define stupid. I don't know, just don't do anything stupid. Jiraiya shrugged. Naruto nodded without paying attention. Jiraiya sighed, not here though. He looked around, come with me. Naruto followed Jiraiya into a cafe and they chose an isolated corner. Demon brat. Get out. You're not allowed to be here. A waiter yelled at Naruto. Naruto just rolled his eyes. Jiraiya's eyes twitched, and he turned to face the waiter, sorry, but Naruto is here with me, is that a problem? He asked with an evil smile. The waiter blinked, then it registered, Jiraiya-sama. Of course not. I'm so sorry. Please take your time. He quickly ran away. Naruto nodded approvingly, I could get used to you. Jiraiya shrugged, yeah well, on to pressing matters. Naruto sat down and leaned in, carry on. Jiraiya sighed and pulled out a scroll, unsealing it, there are 8 others like you, all scattered in different villages, the one-tail/Ichibi, Shikaku, is inside Gaara of the Sand, the son of the Kazekage, he lives in Suna, the village hidden in the Sand he is about your age. They say he is very bloodthirsty because his seal is extremely weak. Naruto nodded and Jiraiya continued, the Jinchuriki of the 2 tails/Nibi is named Yugito ni, she is in Kumo, the village hidden in the clouds, she is older than you and is very strong and can fully control her Biju. The 3 tails/Sanbi, he is inside Yagura, who is the 4th Mizukage of the mist, Kiri. Despite his looks, he is strong and older than you, although he looks like a child. The 4 tails/Yanbi, he is inside Roshi, whose village is Iwa, the rock country. He is in his late 30s and he is hard-headed and strong, having 3 nature types, lava, earth and fire release. The 5 tails/Gobi, the Jinchuriki is Han, he is from Iwa too, and he is physically tall and covers his face except for his eyes. He has steam-based ninjutsu because of his Biju and he is older than you. The 6 tails/Rokubi is inside Utakata, who is a missing ninja from his village just recently, the mist village, Kiri. He has water-style jutsu and usually uses bubbles to travel. He is a few years older than you, about 15 or 16. The 7 tails/Shichibi is inside Fo, and she is from Takagakure, the village hidden in the waterfall, she is 1 or 2 years younger than you, but most information about her is limited. The 8 tails/Hachibi is inside Killer Bee, the son of the Sandaime Raikage, and brother of the Yandame Raikage, he is actually very cheerful and he knows Yugito ni because they are in the same village, Kumo. He makes everyone call him Jinchuriki-sama or Hachibi-sama, and is proud of it. He is in full control of his Biju and I have a suspicion that he is actually friends with Hachibi. The 9 tails/Kyuubi, well, that's you Naruto. Jiraiya said this and gave Naruto a smile. Naruto smiled and nodded, arigato, Ero-sennin. Jiraiya grinned, no problem brat. Naruto breathed out and grabbed his bag from the ground, well, I'm done for now, I guess I'll see you later. Jiraiya nodded, of course. Naruto smiled and turned to walk away, then he stopped and turned his head slightly, Ero-sennin? Jiraiya raised his head, yeah. Naruto scratched his cheek in embarrassment, do you think you could help me train sometime? Jiraiya grinned, sure. I would love to. Naruto's face got brighter, arigato Ero-sennin. Aw brat, don't call me that. It's bad for my reputation. Your reputation is already bad you old fart. Naruto ran for it. So how do you think I should start this Kyuu? Naruto asked Kyuubi. How about, hey. How you doing? I have 9 tails sealed inside me, what about you? Naruto facepalmed, I think that's a bit too blatant. Well how am I supposed to know kid? I don't know. It was requesting friendly advice. Anyway, get to it kid. Naruto sighed and stared at the blank paper in front of him. It was like it was taunting him, the paper. How dare it? Naruto grabbed his pen and started writing. Dear Jinchuriki. My name is Uzumaki Naruto, and I am 13 years old. You probably don't actually understand why I am contacting you, so I'll tell you, I am also a Jinchuriki. Let's start with the basics. A Jinchuriki is someone who has a tailed beast ceiling inside them. There are 9 of us, going from 1 tail to 9 tails. I hold the 9-tailed fox, Kyuubi, my village is Konoha, and I have a little bit of information about all of you guys too, such as what tailed beasts you have, your names, and what villages you belong to. I made this letter so I could be in contact with you. Us Jinchurikis have to back each other up, right? We are all the same, that's what I believe. Personally, I have been treated badly all my life. I don't think any of you have been treated like royalty either, have you? Ha, that would be the day. I was always alone until my sensei, Iruka, protected me and told me that he cared. Now, I am a genin and have a team, hopefully they will warm up to me soon enough. Kyuubi is kind of annoying me now. He talks to me in my head. He isn't mean actually, but he is telling me to tell your tailed beasts, hey, you all got sealed too? Losers, but I don't get why he is saying that. He got sealed in me too, right? He is calling himself a loser. That's so funny. Well, I have to go now. Hopefully you will send me a letter me back. You will know how to when you get this. So, see ya later, I guess. Naruto put 8 copies of this same letter in an envelope and Kyuubi helped him make foxes deliver them. This was only the beginning to a legend. Naruto grabbed his headband and put it on, grinning to himself. Breakfast or no breakfast? He asked Kyuubi. Trust me kid, you want breakfast, don't let the scarecrow scare you. Naruto nodded and grabbed some cereal, and poured the milk that he just got yesterday by transforming into some random person, and surprise surprise. The shop owners sold to him, they just had no idea they sold to the Kyuubi brat. Typical, no? You must pass the test or it will bring shame onto me, especially since I have been personally training you every night. And it was true. Every night, Naruto would go into his mindscape and train with Kyuubi, and he had been improving a lot. Naruto then grabbed an apple and put it in his bag. He might want a bite later. Then he looked at the other apples and took 2 more just in case Sasuke and Sakura didn't have breakfast. He walked out of the house and locked his door, humming to himself happily. It was 10:30. Naruto knew that Kakashi wouldn't come early. Judging from how late he was yesterday, he shouldn't bother showing up early today. Naruto finally arrived at the training Kakashi told them to be at. Naruto! Why are you so late? Sakura screeched. Great, first thing in the morning and I have to hear the banshees screaming. Naruto thought to himself. He noticed Sasuke and nodded his head to him. Sasuke noticed him and nodded back. They actually got along. Well, he wouldn't go that far, but they did hold civilized conversations once in a while. Naruto sat down next to them. Have you had breakfast? Sakura scoffed. Oh, course not. Kakashi-sensei told us not to. A ninja always has to follow orders. Naruto facepalmed. Yeah, but do you want to run around being a ninja on an empty stomach? How are you going to follow orders while you are low on energy? Sakura paused. Sasuke cursed. Damn. Naruto smiled and opened his bag. You guys are in luck, here. He threw the apples he brought with him to his teammates. Sasuke and Sakura widened their eyes and blinked. I'm not eating this. Sakura yelled. Naruto frowned. Why? Because. Sakura didn't have a reason. Sasuke shrugged and took a bite. I owe you. He told Naruto. Naruto smirked. Is that jerk for thank you? Sasuke glared at him with no anger. Ha. Naruto shrugged. At least you admit it. Sakura stared at Sasuke and then the apple. Well, if Sasuke-kun is. Then. She took a bite and it tasted amazing. She hasn't eaten much. She was on a diet to impress her Sasuke-kun after all. Naruto looked in content at his teammates eating. Now we can work together, hopefully. A poof was seen and Kakashi stood with a closed-eye smile. Good morning. Sakura fumed, why were you late? Kakashi grinned, I got lost today, on the path of life. Sakura, sweat dropped. Sasuke rolled his eyes. Naruto just sighed. Kakashi noticed the apples and raised an eyebrow, I told you not to eat, why did you disobey me? Sakura felt fear, but Sasuke and Naruto stayed composed. We can't do this test on an empty stomach, everyone has to eat so we get the best performance. Naruto explained. Kakashi chuckled, you are correct. Sakura calmed down, you have to look underneath the underneath. Can we get on with this, or what? Sasuke growled. Naruto raised an eyebrow, impatient aren't we? Sasuke scoffed, obviously. Sakura bit her lip and looked at the two boys. Let's start, then. Kakashi took out an alarm clock, and placed it in the tree trunk, this is set for midday. He took out 2 bells, your task is to get these bells from me, if you don't, you will be tied to the post. Sakura gaped, but sensei. There's only 2 bells and 3 of us. Naruto rolled his eyes, well spotted, want a medal? He asked sarcastically, then he narrowed his eyes, but this is a bit strange. Yes, meaning one of you will be tied to the post, or, if none of you get it, all of you will be tied to the post. Kakashi shrugged. Sasuke and Naruto exchanged looks, like they were silently saying, talk later. The people who don't get the bells will be sent back to the academy. Kakashi warned. All of the Genin's eyes widened, shit. They all thought. You may start. Now. All the Genins flashed to the trees and bushes, Naruto hid behind a tree. This doesn't make sense, Kit. Kyuubi told him. I know. It's almost like he wants you to fight among each other. So that's what he's trying to do. Naruto groaned, what is it? Not telling. Naruto huffed, fine, be that way. He then heard a scream, Kiwae. Naruto's sweat dropped, guess Sakura got caught. Yep. Naruto's eyes hardened, so that's what he wants us to do. Understand? Yeah, it's teamwork. Correct. Gotta find Sasuke. He shined to where he found another chakra signature, Sasuke growled. He was stuck in the ground. Damn, Kakashi works fast. He laughed inside his head. It's me. Naruto hissed when Sasuke growled. Sasuke nodded and sighed. Naruto sighed, the answer to the test, it's teamwork. Sasuke blinked, no, it isn't. Naruto nodded exaggeratedly, yeah, it is. Teams are all about teamwork, obviously, but he wanted us to be pitted against each other to see what we would do. Sasuke rolled his eyes, as annoying as it sounds, I think what you are saying has a point. Naruto smirked, is that jerk for, you're right but I don't want to admit it? Sasuke half-heatedly glared, dobe. Teime. Just get me out. Sasuke sighed. Naruto shrugged, sure. Shadow clone jutsu. He said and a clone popped up. You idiot, clones can't touch people, Sasuke was cut off when the clone pulled him out, Naruto grinned, shadow clones, they're solid. Sasuke dumbly nodded, oh. Naruto chuckled and they started walking, until Naruto cursed. What? Sasuke asked. We have to get Sakura, she's part of the team, too. Sasuke sighed and nodded. Naruto grinned, you've been sighing a lot lately, the fangirls won't be happy when they see that their precious Sasuke-kun is cracking his reputation. Sasuke rolled his eyes, well they can go, I'm actually not going to finish that sentence. Naruto burst out laughing, oh my god. I bet you were going to say, well they can. Shut up Naruto. Sasuke groaned. Naruto carried on laughing but didn't continue talking. After walking for about 5 minutes, they finally found Sakura on the ground, passed out completely. Sasuke and Naruto looked at each other, genjutsu. They said at the same time. Naruto went forward and shook Sakura's shoulders. Oi. Pink-haired banshee. Sakura shot upwards and her eyes opened. She instantly saw Sasuke and hugged him. Sasuke-kun. I thought you were Dash. It was a genjutsu Sakura, now get up, we have to get the bells. Naruto said. Sasuke clenched his fist, I touched one earlier. Naruto raised an eyebrow, good, but Kakashi wasn't trying, you should see what he has behind his headband, anyway, let's make a plan, so, this is what we're gonna do. Kakashi walked around in the training ground, what are they doing? He thought. Suddenly kunais were thrown at him, he caught them with one finger but then some in the other direction came, he put his book away then caught them with his other hand, straight after most kunais came at him, he sighed and caught them. Only shuriken and kunai. Something new please. He laughed. Think again, sensei. Sakura's voice said. His eyes widened as on his hand the kunais exploded, he looked carefully and wrapped around the holder there was an explosive tag, he didn't even realize. He was getting too cocky thinking it would be only regular kunai and shuriken. They caught him off guard, though, just by a fraction. He covered his eye from the explosion and felt something hit him behind, he cursed. Kakashi whirled around and met Sasuke's smirking face, Sasuke made some hand signs, fireball no jutsu. Kakashi dodged the fireball and chuckled, I'll admit you caught me off guard, but it takes more than that. Naruto grinned and made his favorite hand sign, shadow clone jutsu. He whispered. He and his shadow clone quickly used something like lightning quickly shunshin and took the bells from Kakashi, replacing them with substitute bells, then nodded to Sasuke and Sakura, they nodded back. The bell rang and they came together again, facing Kakashi. Kakashi smirked, well, you did well, but you didn't get a bell so. Ah! That's where you're wrong Kakashi-sensei. Sakura cut in. Kakashi looked confused, but, he looked at his pocket. We have the bells. Sasuke said confidently. Naruto smirked, let me erase your confusion. He put his hand up, release. The bells on Kakashi's pocket turned into sticks and dropped, Kakashi was wide-eyed. So? Sasuke smirked. Naruto pulled a one-sided grin, do we pass? Kakashi was speechless, but then he cleared his throat, there are only 2 bells, who's going back to the academy? This was all planned for Sakura, Sasuke and Naruto. Sakura put her hand up, me. Kakashi blinked. Sakura shrugged, I can just pass next year, Sasuke-kun can go on. Naruto sweat dropped and thought, what about me? He smiled, but I'd rather we stay as a team, after all, we can't abandon a teammate. Ha, lies, I would gladly leave Sakura. Kakashi looked at the sky, my friend once told me, if you break the rules you're scum, but if you abandon your friends, you're worse than scum. Naruto, Sasuke and Sakura nodded. Kakashi smiled, since you work together, let me answer your question Naruto, yes, you pass. Naruto groaned and curled up into a ball in bed. He would have loved to go back to bed, but something was wet on his cheek. He opened one eye and saw about 4 of his foxes, with an envelope wrapped around their legs. He sprung up and untied the letter from the first fox's leg. He quickly opened it and read it. Dear Uzumaki Naruto. My name is Gaara of the Sand, I am Jinchuriki of the Ichibi, Shikaku. Naruto nodded to himself, seemed like the so-called bloodthirsty Gaara wasn't much of a talker. He didn't really care what Jiraiya said about them, they all had tough lives, Gaara must have had a terrible one. He took the next one and opened it. Dear Uzumaki Naruto. My name is Fu, I'm the Jinchuriki of the Shichibi. I'm happy that there is someone out there like me, and there are another 7. Whoa, didn't see that coming. I'm from the waterfall village, it's really wet? But that's to be expected. I live alone, in a treehouse that I made for myself, it's actually pretty nice. Well, I hope you reply back. From Fu. Fu sounded cheerful, but Naruto knew under that cheerfulness she was lonely, Fu was younger than Naruto, so obviously. Naruto smiled, He would definitely do something. He opened the third envelope. Uzumaki Naruto. I am surprised you have contacted me. I am Yagura, Mizukage of the Mist Village, Jinchuriki of the Sanbi, but I'm supposing you already know of my status since you knew how to contact me and your fox knew where to find me, my Mizukage office. My village and I have a bad reputation, but that's mostly my fault, so don't be fooled when you hear stories of the bloody mist. My village are currently fighting against rebels who don't want me to rule them. Perhaps you will write back, and maybe we could all meet, all 9 of us. Yagura. Yagura definitely sounded formal. Yeah, formal, but he was a Kage, that comes with the job sometimes. He sounded alright, and that idea at the end didn't sound too bad, all 9 Jinchurikis meeting. It was a good idea. He shook it off and read the last envelope. To Uzumaki Naruto. My name is Utakata, I'm not sure how you found me, I'm a missing ninja, so I'm not in my village, maybe it was the fox's sense of smell. I'm not sure, but I'm glad. I knew there were more of us, but didn't know who or where. I usually travel in bubbles, so if you see someone above your village in a giant bubble wearing a blue kimono, it's me. I spend most of my time actually running away from hunter-neens and Anbu. It's hard I guess, but I'm used to it. I guess that's the end of this short letter, for now. Thanks, and I hope to hear from you soon. Utakata. Naruto smiled. This was a good start. Most of the villages were far away and it took long for a fox to travel, so maybe that's why the other 4 didn't reply yet. But he was definitely answering Fu, Utakata, Gaara and Yagura. He took out a pen and paper and started writing. About an hour later, Naruto yawned and grabbed his rucksack and ran out of the door. Today was the first day of missions. He was hoping a flashy and awesome mission, but... Sensei, why are we taking rubbish out of a river? Naruto deadpanned. Kakashi looked up from his book. Well Naruto, when you first become Genin, you have to do D-rank missions. Sasuke's eyebrow twitched. Kakashi. Sakura grimaced. Her hair and clothes were going to get wet. How would she impress Sasuke-kun when she looks like she has been through a pigsty? Kakashi just smiled at them and carried on reading his book. Someone tell me again exactly why am I weeding? Naruto questioned. Sakura groaned. I agree with Naruto with this one. Why, Kakashi-sensei? Sasuke's eyes narrowed. Word yourself carefully, Kakashi. Kakashi laughed. It's your mission. Naruto growled, then raised his head. How many D-rank missions do we need to do to allow us to get a C-rank? Kakashi smiled. Guess you caught on. Naruto rolled his eyes. Yeah, just answer the question. Kakashi put his hands up in defense. Okay, you need a minimum of 30 D-ranks to get a C-rank, and right now, you are completing your 3rd D-rank. I'm trying to make this quick to get a C-rank already. Sasuke breathed out silently. Then he isn't messing with us, he thought. Sakura beamed. Yes. With a C-rank I can impress Sasuke-kun, she thought fiercely. Ha. Naruto chewed the inside of his cheek. Kakashi-sensei, that's going to take a long time. How about I just make some shadow clones and get this done and over with? Kakashi blinked. That's not a bad idea, Naruto. Sasuke and Sakura looked up in determination. Okay, you guys get this done ASAP and we can ask the Hokage, Kakashi said. The Genins nodded and went back to work. Once they had finished their missions, if they could even call chores missions, they stood in front of the Hokage. Hokage-sama, request for 27 D-rank missions, Kakashi said confidently. Iruka gaped while the Hokage blinked. May I ask what you are planning exactly? Naruto spoke up. I can make a lot of shadow clones. Iruka-sensei knows that firsthand, so we want to get this over and done with. Iruka stood up. The point of D-rank missions is to work on your teamwork. How are you supposed to do that when they are all clones of Naruto? Sasuke's eye twitched. How are we supposed to work on teamwork when we are weeding? Pass the weed to the next person like pass the parcel? Highly unlikely. Iruka had nothing to say. the Hokage told him to sit down and he did. I approve. Iruka looked at the Hokage unbelievingly, but Hokage-sama dash. Iruka, Kakashi knows what he is doing and so does young Naruto, Sasuke and Sakura. The Hokage said. Sasuke and Naruto whispered to each other, not Sakura. So Iruka, please give them their 27 D-rank missions. The Hokage said in the tone that no one could argue with. Iruka nodded and looked down, sorting through papers. Here. He gave them to Naruto, who nodded to himself and walked out of the room. What's he doing dash? Sakura started. Shadow, clone, jutsu. The room became covering with smoke and about 100 Narutos ran outside and got on with the missions. The original Naruto came back with a smile, done. Kakashi's sweat dropped. I wouldn't like to be put up against this kid and his shadow clones in a life or death fight. He thought. The Hokage nodded, report back once you are done. Naruto nodded and they walked out. Sakura laughed, I don't know why but that was kind of funny. Sasuke nodded, it was quite amusing. Kakashi grinned, you can say that again, the look on Iruka's face when that happened. Sakura smiled, what about you Naruto? Naruto looked ahead with boredom, yeah, sure whatever. Sasuke, Sakura and Kakashi exchanged glanced, Naruto, are you okay? You know what, let's just meet up at the Hokage office in half an hour, my clones will be done by then, I gotta go. Naruto waved his hand dismissively. Kakashi blinked, yeah, sure. Great. Naruto walked away from the group and went home. Kakashi, Sasuke and Sakura looked at his retreating back, I wonder what's wrong with him. In all honesty, Kyuubi told him that another of the foxes had come back with a reply. He ran home and opened the door. 4 of his foxes were sleeping on the ground. He took the letters trying not to wake them up and started reading. Hello Uzumaki Naruto. My name is Yugito, I am the Jinchuriki for the 2 tails, but you probably already know that. I didn't think I would see a fox outside my door, and ever since then Killer B, you know him right? He said that he got a letter from the Kyuubi Jinchuriki too, wouldn't stop talking about it. Oh wait, he doesn't talk, he rhymes. You should read his letter, I am determined that you will burst out laughing from his awful attempts to rap. Okay, that's it for now, goodbye. Yugito. Naruto remembered that Yugito Ni and Killer B were in the same village, so they obviously knew each other and talked on a regular basis. He opened the next letter and grinned. Uzumaki Naruto. I have received your letter. And I have to say, I feel a lot better. Knowing there was someone like me. You might not know, but I'm Killer B. My friends call me Hachibi-sama. But I make sure there's not a lot of drama. Well, I gotta go Bakayaro. Talk to you later Kanayaro. Killer B. Naruto felt his amusement spark up, this guy was terrible at rhyming. But he actually really tried. It was so funny. Naruto shook his head in laughter and opened the next one. Uzumaki Naruto. My name is Han and I am Jinchuriki of the Gobi. For all the years that I have lived, no Jinchuriki actually tried contacting another. It was quite the surprise when I saw a fox at my doorstep with a letter strapped around its leg. Connections with foxes links to the fact that you have the Kyuubi sealed inside you obviously, but I'm glad that you have contacted me. Han. Naruto nodded, that was Han, so on to the last one. Dear Uzumaki Naruto. My name is Roshi, I am Jinchuriki of the Yonbi. I live in the rock country, so it's different from what you are living like in Konoha. I wonder how your fox found me. I hadn't even been in the village until I are home from a mission and saw the orange fur of the fox in my apartment. Considering how you found me, I suppose that the other Jinchuriki wrote back to your letter too. Hope to hear from you again. Roshi. Naruto smiled. All 9 Jinchurikis were in contact. The clones of Naruto had poofed out of existence once the missions were completed and it took just under half an hour. Naruto supposed that he should go to the Hokage office now. Naruto walked out of his door casually and locked it, walking to the Hokage tower, taking his time. Naruto! You took too long. Sakura screeched. Naruto grimaced, well, let me apologize for using up my chakra for the benefit of you and the others not having to do manual labor. Sakura clamped her mouth shut, and she hesitantly turned her attention back at the Hokage. The Hokage eyed the two but then let it pass. She was annoying, he would admit it. Since you have completed your D-rank missions, do you want a C-rank? He asked, already knowing the answer. Yes, please. Yep. Naturally. Obviously. The Hokage rolled his eyes and took out a mission sheet. It's already prepared for you. Iruka. Let the guest in. Iruka nodded and opened the door, suddenly letting in a stench of alcohol. Naruto wrinkled his nose in disgust. These are the brats who are going to protect me. The man slurred. Kakashi smiled, yes, but you don't need to worry, I am a jonin. The man nodded, a pink fangirl, a broody boy, and a stupid blonde. Naruto gave a creepy smile, this stupid blonde can kill you easily. Wanna find out how? He gave an insane giggle at the end just to freak Tazuna out. The bridge builder gulped, no. Sarutobi looked at the genin, this is bridge builder Tazuna, he needs to get back to his country, in the land of waves, Nami no Kuni. Tazuna slurred, you brats better protect me with your lives. Naruto raised his eyebrow, I don't think risking our lives is meant for a C-rank mission, is it Sasuke? He asked the Uchiha. Sasuke held a suspicious look, no, it isn't Naruto. Tazuna gulped, they couldn't have already figured it out, could they? Kakashi paid no attention, okay, everyone grab your things from home and meet at the gate in 20 minutes. Hi. Naruto rushed home and whipped out a pen and paper. Nami no Kuni was the wave country, the hidden mist country. Kirigakure. Meaning right now Yagura would be there. Naruto wrote down words quickly. Dear Yagura. Good news, I am going to go on my first C-rank mission right now, and guess what? It's in your territory. We are heading for the land of waves, to guide a bridge builder back to his country. I don't know why, but I just wanted to tell you, maybe I will see you. Just in case, I wear all black, it's Anbu-style clothes, my hair is sunny blonde, I have clear blue eyes, and my most distinctive feature is my whisker marks on my cheeks, 3 on each. I will be with a group, Hatake Kakashi, Uchiha Sasuke, and girl with pink hair. Hopefully I will see you, maybe it's wishful thinking, but I can hope. He quickly strapped it on a fox's leg and it ran out, to send the letter to Yagura. Naruto smiled to himself and got his bag ready, standard C-rank things, a change of clothes, toiletries, shuriken, kunai and wire, explosive tags and smoke bombs, and many more things which he had found. Naruto looked up and smirked, let's get this show on the road. Let's leave guys. Kakashi said happily. Tazuna rubbed his head. Sasuke and Naruto were talking a bit and Sakura was trying to impress Sasuke with nothing. Nothing really. I got a feeling Tazuna isn't telling us the truth. Naruto said in a hushed voice. Yeah, same here, he always tenses and looked around him, like he's waiting for someone to attack. Sasuke replied. Kakashi-sensei? Sakura asked. Yes, Sakura. Kakashi answered. Are there ninja in the land of waves? She questioned. Kakashi shook his head, no, they are mostly in the mist, they are the same country but the wave doesn't have ninjas. Sakura nodded her head, motioning that she understood. Why doesn't the mist help wave now? She asked. Naruto's attention snapped to her. Because their country is at war at the moment, they are dealing with rebels who want to overpower the Mizukage, Yagura. The leader of the rebels is Mei Terumi. But I don't blame them, Yagura did some pretty horrifying things. Kakashi explained. Naruto bit his lip from saying anything. He is completely heartless, killing innocent people. Naruto clenched his fists and his nails dug into his skin enough to draw blood. Sasuke eyed him wearily, wondering what was going on. Kakashi continued, not noticing Naruto's anger, that's why they are called the Bloody Mist, Yagura has completely destroyed the country and... Shut up. Everything was silent. Excuse me? Kakashi asked. Naruto gave him a glare enough to kill. You don't know anything about Yagura, why are you judging people according to the things people say? He probably had a reason for his choices. Kakashi fell silent, so did everyone, they couldn't think of anything to say. Naruto's anger caught them by surprise, defending someone that he had no idea about. Kakashi couldn't understand it. Naruto's senses caught something and he saw the puddle on the ground. Sasuke. He warned. Sasuke nodded and they both jumped up high. Chains from different directions went under them and caught Kakashi. Ugh! Kakashi grunted and was slashed to pieces. Sakura and Tazuna looked in horror at the decapitated sensei. Sasuke and Naruto went straight into action. Naruto landed a roundhouse kick at one of the attacker's necks and swung him over, slashing a kunai across his chest. Sasuke handled the other one, he jumped on his chain and hooked it on his leg, twirling it around and pulling the attacker and kicking his back, making him collapse. They tied up the attackers and gave each other a high five. Looks like you handled it pretty well. They turned around and met the face, masked obviously, of Hatake Kakashi. The boys turned around, shrugged, yeah, I guess. Naruto replied. Huh. Sasuke grunted. Kakashi looked at the attackers and recognized them. These are the demon brothers, they are missing ninja from village hidden in the mist. They didn't target Naruto or Sasuke, so they weren't after the boys. Tazuna-san, please tell me, why are mid-chunin level ninja after you? Tazuna gulped, well, I have no other choice than to tell you. And so he started the story, about Gato and how he was targeting Nami no Kuni. Giving an explanation on how he couldn't have afforded a B-rank level mission. Kakashi-sensei, I think we should go back to the village, we are way in over our heads here. Sakura pleaded. No. Sasuke and Naruto yelled. Sakura flinched and nodded, tears in her eyes. Kakashi sighed, the boys want to proceed with the mission, I'm sorry Sakura. She nodded in understanding, but sadness. Tazuna smiled, thank you. Naruto glared at him, honestly, this isn't about you, I have another reason for this so, don't get too happy. Tazuna blinked and nodded. Kakashi eyed him, what is the other reason? He thought. Sasuke nodded, we should get going. I agree. Naruto said. Kakashi shrugged and shook his head, what do I get myself into? Suddenly, a fox came running into the clearing they were in. Naruto blinked and recognized it as one of his, Sumi. The fox licked his face. Why? Is a fox licking your face? Sakura screamed. Kakashi blinked, foxes. No. It couldn't be because of the Kyuubi. Sasuke just blinked and shrugged it off as one of the many mysteries of Naruto Uzumaki. Tazuna facepalmed. Naruto took the scroll from Sumi's leg, unwrapped it and started reading it. Naruto. I have received your recent letter. Honestly, I want to meet you, so I will find you somehow. I am supposing you are still in the land of fire, but nearing the sea. The war has been stalled a bit, we don't know what's going to happen, so we are on standby. This is one of the reasons I have the time to meet you. Since you told me about you, I will describe myself. I have sandy-colored hair, a cut under my eye sliding down with stitches, you don't want to know how that happened, and light violet eyes. I wear green and black clothes and carry a tall staff. I will see you soon. Naruto smiled. Kakashi, Sasuke, Sakura and Tazuna blinked, they hadn't seen this type of smile before. This was from the heart, a caring smile, he cared about the contents of the letter, or the sender. Naruto, who is it from? Kakashi asked. Naruto's eyes snapped to his and he glared, none of your business. Kakashi nodded and dropped the subject. They carried on walking as Sumi the fox ran again, probably going to Yagura to make sure he knows that Naruto received the letter. Kakashi yawned and spoke, we should take camp here for tonight. It's getting late and we should rest for the night. Good idea. Tazuna agreed. Sakura nodded, her feet felt like they were bleeding. She had walked so much. Her feet were usually moisturized and soft, but by now they were probably rough and hard. She had never walked this much in her life. Sasuke and Naruto exchanged looks and silently communicated, and both nodded to Kakashi after. They took their rucksacks off and pulled out their things, making themselves comfortable. Half an hour later, they were all ready to sleep. A fire was lit for warmth while they ate the food they brought with them from Konoha. "Well, I'm sleeping, you should too soon, night," Tazuna said and rolled over away from the fire. Kakashi nodded, he's right. Sasuke lay his head down, Sakura was already asleep and Naruto closed his eyes. Naruto dreamt of meeting all the Jinchuriki. The next morning they were woken up early, it was sunrise and Kakashi was already smiling. Naruto and Sasuke were not morning people. Sakura tried helping Sasuke up when he glared at her with the meanest glare in all of humanity. Kakashi tried to talk to Naruto about the letter yesterday when Naruto snapped at him, hissing a very terrifying and scary "shut the hell up or I'll stab a stick down your throat." Tazuna didn't even attempt talking to them after what Kakashi and Sakura experienced. For the next hour they left the boys alone and didn't attempt to talk to them until the boys talked to them. "What time approximately are we going to arrive there?" Naruto asked irritably, still grouchy. Kakashi sighed, "Probably in a couple of minutes." Sasuke and Naruto nodded. True to his word, in a minute or two they had arrived at the docks. They got on the boat and sailed towards Nami no Kuni. Naruto looked into the fog, so close. "Just wait, Yagura," he thought. They eventually arrived at the wave country, and they slowly got off the boat. "That's as far as I go," the boat guy said. "Thanks for risking it this far." Tazuna thanked. "Good luck, Tazuna." They nodded and Tazuna looked at the ninja and grinned, "Now, get me home in one piece." Kakashi rolled his eyes, yeah. They were walking through the path when Naruto's eyes narrowed and he threw a kunai at the bush. "Naruto!" Sakura screamed. Naruto rolled his eyes and looked at what he hit. It was a snow-white bunny. His eyes widened and he glanced with Sasuke, who nodded. "Duck!" A sword came slicing through the air and attached itself on the tree. There on top of it was none other than Zabuza Momochi. "Sharingan no Kakashi, what a pleasure to meet you," Zabuza said. Sasuke's eyes widened, "Sharingan dash." "Zabuza Momochi, demon of the mist. I've heard of you." Kakashi spoke. "The famous Kakashi Hatake knows me. So I was in your bingo book too." Zabuza chuckled. By now, Sakura's heart was pounding with fear, Tazuna was scared out of his mind, Sasuke was confused and Naruto was calm. "Sorry for you, but I need to kill the old man," Zabuza told them. Kakashi shrugged, "Well, I apologize, but that won't happen. We were hired to protect Tazuna, and obviously you are standing in our way." Zabuza took out his sword from the tree and looked at Kakashi intently. "I can kill you easily." Kakashi smiled, "Guess I'll be needing this then." He raised his headband and the Sharingan spun to life. "To see the Sharingan so early in our battle, I truly am honored." Zabuza grinned. Kakashi yelled, "Manji formation, protect the bridge builder. Stay out of this battle." The Genins instantly surrounded Tazuna and glared. Zabuza put his hands in a hand sign, Ninpu, Kirigakure no Jutsu. The air went foggy, nothing could be seen, they could only hear, because their senses were being disrupted. He started scaring them, however Naruto had been through much worse, so he was only feeling like his senses were tingling. He uses the silent killing Tekuhike, you don't even know that you're dead until it happens, Kakashi said. Sasuke snorted, that's reassuring. But he was scared. Sakura was already trembling. Tazuna was on the edge of breaking down. Even Naruto was intimidated. Which vital point shall I choose? Zabuza chuckled. The Genins and Tazuna felt a shock, they turned around and he was right there, grinning in their faces. He pushed them back and they fell and grunted from the impact, Naruto cursed. He stood up when the fog instantly vanished and he started making some hand signs until he was interrupted. Zabuza Momochi. What a pleasure to see you again. A voice rang through the clearing. Zabuza froze. No. A boy who looked about Naruto's age with sandy hair kicked Zabuza's back and he groaned as he hit the ground hard. Naruto and the boy's eyes met and instant realization hit them. Zabuza growled, "This isn't over, Kakashi." Kakashi lowered his headband, "Wouldn't dream of it." Zabuza shined away and the fog was gone by now. Kakashi looked at the mystery boy. "Who are you?" he asked, and looked at Tazuna who trembled. Kakashi looked at him. "Tazuna-san. What's wrong?" Tazuna looked up. "This is the Mizukage." Kakashi's eyes widened and he stood in front of Yagura. Yagura rolled his eyes and approached them. "Mizukage-sama, what are you doing helping Konoha ninja like us?" Kakashi asked with respect but fear. Yagura briefly looked at him. "I was meeting someone, Sharingan Kakashi." Kakashi tensed. "Who? If I may ask." Yagura felt footsteps approach him and he saw the blonde of the group step towards him. Sasuke and Sakura exchanged glances, fearful. Tazuna was clenching his fists in anger and hate. Naruto was staring at the Mizukage's eyes. Yagura was staring at Naruto's eyes. Naruto spoke first with a small smile. "I wonder how you got that cut under your cheek." Yagura chuckled. "I told you that you don't want to know." Yagura raised a brow and Naruto grinned. "Yagura." Naruto tapped his chin in fake wonder. Yagura crossed his arms and smirked. "Uzumaki Naruto." Kakashi's eyes widened. What was going on? Did the evil Mizukage and Naruto actually know each other? He stepped forward. "Naruto. What's going on?" Naruto looked away from Yagura. "The letter from my fox?" "Yeah, that was from Yagura." Kakashi was in shock. No wonder he got all defensive about Yagura when they were talking about him earlier. Naruto looked back at the smirking Mizukage. "So, what do you want to do now?" Yagura thought, "We should get the bridge builder to his house, and when Zabuza gets back then I will punish him for becoming a missing ninja and disgracing my village." Tazuna snorted and said quietly, "You already disgraced your village ages ago." Naruto and Yagura glared at him. "Shut up." Kakashi tried to stop an argument. Now, let's go to Tazuna's house, shall we?" Yagura rolled his eyes. "You are, but I have to talk to Naruto here. I will allow him to come back to you tomorrow." "Naruto? Is that okay?" Naruto smirked. "Hell yeah." Yagura grabbed Naruto's arm and they both transported to somewhere unfamiliar for Naruto. Naruto blinked. "Yagura, where are we?" "We are in my office." Yagura let go of Naruto and walked towards his desk. Naruto raised his eyebrow. "Long distance travel? You have to teach me that." "Guess I will." Naruto laughed and then strolled towards the Mizukage. "Yeah, so, what happened to the war?" Yagura sat down and motioned Naruto to sit too. He did. "Well, both armies have been put on standby. A messenger has also been sent to me from Meiterumi's army, the rebels, and we don't know what's going to happen as of yet." Naruto nodded. "Oh, but you're gonna win, right?" Yagura sighed and leaned back. "I have done lots of bad things during my time as Mizukage, you probably have heard of them." Naruto nodded. "Yes, but if the rebels are stronger than me, then I have a small plan if they succeed." Naruto breathed out. "They want to kill you." Yagura closed his eyes. "I'm not afraid of death. Of course, I'd rather live, so that's what the plan is for." Naruto nodded. "This plan better be good." Yagura chuckled. "It's a plan made by a Mizukage, of course it's good." Naruto rolled his eyes. "What a big ego you have, Mr. 3. He said, referring to their Biju tail numbers. Yagura shook his head in amusement. "I try, Mr. 9. Want something to eat? Let's have a feast, toasted to our fateful meeting of one another." Naruto grinned. "Let's do it, I'm starving." They sat at a table and were brought some food. Naruto grinned and started eating instantly. "So, how old are you?" Naruto asked. Yagura wiped his mouth with a napkin. 19. Naruto choked and banged on his chest. 19. You're 19. Yagura had a tick mark. Yes, is it that surprising? Naruto blinked. No. He then thought, oh, the wonders of the world frighten me sometimes. And you? Yagura asked. Naruto scratched his head. 13. Yagura nodded. You mentioned in your letter, I remember now. I wonder how us other Jinchuuriki never thought of contacting the rest, when you, the youngest, did. Naruto shrugged. I just thought it up. Oh, and Fu is the youngest. Yagura blinked. Excuse me. Naruto repeated, Fu's the Jinchuriki of the Shichibi, the Seven Tails, she is the youngest, 1 or 2 years younger than me I think. Yagura nodded, she replied I suppose. Naruto smiled, all of them did actually. Oh. And have you heard of Utakata? Yagura held a hand to his chin. Utakata. Oh yes. Utakata. He became a missing ninja a few months ago. What of him? Naruto smirked. Wow, Yagura, you didn't know. Utakata is the Jinchuriki of the Rokubi, the Six Tails. The look on Yagura's face was priceless. It was a mix of surprise, realization, shock, and happiness. Kami-sama, I had another Jinchuriki right under my nose and didn't know. Yagura facepalmed and let out a sigh. Naruto laughed. Yep. A cry of surprise stopped their conversation. Get that vermin out of here. A guard yelled. Naruto blinked and exchanged looks with Yagura, then their eyes widened. Let go of my fox. Naruto yelled. The guards looked at Naruto, holding the fox by its tail. Let the fox go. Yagura growled. The guards instantly dropped the animal and ran. The fox whimpered and came limping to Naruto. Naruto held the fox gently. It's okay. Don't worry. You'll be okay. Yagura looked at Naruto and then the fox. He stepped closer and held out his hand. A green light emerged from his hand and slowly healed the fox. Naruto was wide-eyed as he looked at Yagura. Thank you. Yagura smiled. Don't mention it, kid. Naruto frowned. I'm no kid. Yagura shrugged. To me you are. Naruto rolled his eyes and took the letter from the fox's leg. Yagura leaned in and started reading it out loud. Dear Naruto. I have recently escaped from the Hunter Nines. When your fox found me again, let me say, again. I have been traveling and am shocked how the fox found me, but I have to say I am glad. I am currently resting on a tree, writing this, letting my injured leg heal. I don't know any medical ninjutsu unfortunately. How stupid of me to turn the offer down when my old teammate asked to teach me some medical jutsu. I have nothing much to say, since I can hear some Anbu and Hunter Nines coming soon, I can sense them. So I will now hand this letter over to your fox, and hoping for a reply. Yagura growled, stupid Hunter Nines. Naruto raised an eyebrow, they're your Hunter Nines. That disgraces me even more. Naruto shrugged. Yagura called for an Anbu, make the Hunter Nines in charge of the capture of the missing ninja Utakata, not harm him anyway, instead bring him here. Give him this. Yagura gave the Anbu a fox amulet that hung around Sumi's neck. The Anbu nodded, yes sir. He shunshined out and Yagura rubbed his head, how troubling. Naruto grinned, look on the bright side, we get to meet another Jinchuuriki. Yagura stopped and smirked, if you put it that way. Naruto cracked up in laughter and Yagura soon joined him. The guards outside were shivering. This kid is making Yagura-sama laugh. It's scary. One trembled. Kami, help us. The other covered his face. Utakata ran through the trees and jumped up, shit, I can't lose them. He thought. Utakata. We mean you no harm. The Hunter Nin shouted. Utakata raised an eyebrow and chuckled, that's your way of getting your targets back these days? The Hunter Nin growled, I'm serious. I have an object which the Mizukage sent me to show you. Utakata laughed, The man who killed millions of people wants to give me something. The hunter nin stopped, and so did Utakata. I don't know why, he just told us to not harm you, just bring you back, and show you this. He took out a gold object from his pocket and it dangled, showing Utakata. Utakata's eyes widened. It was a gold amulet with a fox engraved on it. He had seen it before, around the messenger fox's neck. Naruto, he whispered under his breath. This is the message, Utakata, come back to the village, we will not harm you, neither will anyone else, I am number 3. Number 9 is with me too, these are the words of the Mizukage. Another hunter nin came out of hiding. Utakata's eyes widened. Number 3 was the Sanbi, number 9 was the Kyuubi, and it was inside Naruto. He hesitantly nodded, I will come with you. The hunter nin sighed in relief, thank Kami, the Mizukage would have killed us if we didn't. Utakata flinched at the kill part. The hunter nins noticed and put their hands up in defense. I was exaggerating, actually, I heard a few hours ago that recently when he found this blonde boy he actually laughed and smiled. Utakata blinked, laughed, smiled. Was this the same Mizukage they were talking about? Blonde boy? Maybe it was Dash. Naruto. That did explain the fox amulet. Utakata nodded, let's go. Hi. The hunter nins nodded. Utakata tapped his fingers on his legs and walked towards the Mizukage office, where he knocked on the door. Naruto and Yagura exchanged looks and swung the door open. Blue kimono. Blue. Blue. You're Utakata, right? A blonde, whiskered boy of about 13 years old pointed. He blinked and nodded. Yagura got up and motioned Utakata to come in, he did and closed the door. I'm Yagura. He raised his hand to shake. Utakata blinked, you are my Kage, I know who you are. He chuckled, I'm Utakata. And he shook Yagura's hand. They both heard a groan from behind him, they turned around. Why am I getting ignored? Yagura shrugged, I'm just more important than you, Naruto. Naruto's sweat dropped, Yagura, if it weren't for me, you guys would have never met and know you were Jinchuurikis. Yagura scratched his forehead, yeah well. Utakata stepped forward, you're Uzumaki Naruto. Naruto smiled and nodded, yes, nice to finally meet you Utakata. Utakata smiled and nodded, pleased to meet you too. Naruto sat down, no need to be formal, except Yagura because formality is practically driven into his brain. Yagura raised an eyebrow, I'm a Mizukage, what do you expect? Naruto shrugged, being laid back and ordering Anbu to do your paperwork. Yagura blinked, seriously? Naruto nodded, seriously. Utakata was smiling in amusement. You're ridiculous. Yagura sighed. And you're too uptight. Naruto shot back. I prefer to call it professional. I like calling it stupid. That's stupid itself. You're stupid yourself. I beg to differ. I don't. Are we really having this conversation? It seems so. Ha. Utakata burst out laughing and Naruto and Yagura looked at him and tilted their heads in confusion. What? They said at the same time. Utakata laughed even harder, Kami, this is funny. Ha. Naruto pouted, you're mean. Utakata calmed down and shrugged, I guess so. Kakashi put his head in his hands, what's going on? How did Yagura know Naruto? It made no sense, even Sasuke was racking his brain trying to figure how Naruto knew the evil Mizukage. Sakura was just even more scared of Naruto now, he has powerful friends. He can kill people easily. She kept on thinking. Kakashi sighed, how could this be possible? Sasuke shrugged, I don't know, he's obviously friends with Yagura, although it seems like they had never met face to face. Kakashi groaned, damn. Sakura gulped, and he will be coming back tomorrow. That's what Yagura said. Nodding, Kakashi exhaled, I will discuss it with him then. But for now, you need to train. What type of training? Sasuke questioned. Kakashi smirked, tree climbing. After letting Utakata eat the best meal he has eaten in a long time, they sat around the table. Naruto, who has contacted you so far? Utakata asked. Yagura nodded, agreeing with knowing the answer to the question. Naruto counted off his fingers: Gaara the Ichibi Jinchuriki, Yugito the Nibi Jinchuriki, Yagura obviously, Roshi the Yonbi Jinchuriki, Han the Gobi Jinchuriki, Utakata obviously, Fu the Shichibi Jinchuriki, and Killer Bee the Hachibi Jinchuriki. All of us, basically. Yagura nodded. We should find a way to contact all of us, not just directly to you, no offense. Can your foxes do that? Naruto nodded. Yes, just make more copies, and my foxes will send it to all of us easily. How fast? Utakata questioned. They have space-time ninjutsu, but not much chakra because they're animals, 1 or 2 days tops. Naruto replied. Good, then it is pretty fast. Naruto nodded, glad that his foxes could be of use. After we all get acquainted, maybe we could hold a kind of meeting? A Jinchuuriki meeting? Utakata asked. My thoughts exactly. Yagura nodded. Naruto grinned. That would be good. It was now about midnight. They had stayed up all night talking about meeting to other Jinchuurikis when they decided to sleep. I will escort you to the sleeping chambers. I hope you don't mind sharing a room. The other is being used by my army general. Yagura said. Naruto and Utakata exchanged glanced and shrugged. I don't mind. Neither do I. Yagura nodded. Sorted then, let's go. They nodded and followed Yagura out of the office and entered the sleeping chambers. There were standard toiletries and everything, so they instantly washed up and slept. Naruto, I think that Sharingan Kakashi would want you back tomorrow, although I don't want you to leave. It's in being a ninja and you should complete your mission. Yagura said. Naruto nodded. That's true. Okay, we will have breakfast in the morning, and then could you use your awesome transport thing to take me back? Utakata smirked. Awesome transport thing? Naruto rolled his eyes. I don't know what it's called, don't bully me. Yagura snorted. Yeah, but okay, I will use my awesome transport thing to take you to Tsunas. Naruto nodded and covered his head with the pillow. Stop bullying me. Yagura and Utakata waved their hands. Hi. Naruto groaned. Whatever. The next morning, Naruto was woken up by Utakata shaking him. Ugh. 5 more minutes. Naruto grumbled, although it sounded like, mims. No, I will not give you 5 more minutes, get up because we're having breakfast. Utakata chuckled. Naruto rolled out of bed, literally. And fell on the ground, cracking his neck and getting up and washing his face. I will stab you. He muttered. Utakata blinked. Excuse me. Naruto growled. I will stab you with a fork. I will shove it down your throat. Grr. Utakata stifled a chuckle. Of course you will. Tired. He grunted. I know you're tired, Naruto. Utakata repeated for about the 10th time. Tiredness is overwhelming. Naruto grumbled again, not knowing fully what he was saying because he was still half asleep. I understand that too. Utakata said. Then Naruto proceeded to threaten Utakata in many ways possible because he woke him up. Kami. Tired. Naruto hung his head and sat on the breakfast table. Yagura raised an eyebrow at him and glanced at Utakata. Yes, Naruto, you have repeated that you are tired about 50 times. Utakata said slowly, like he was teaching a baby about chemical reactions. Yagura chuckled. I'm supposing he's not a morning person. Utakata scoffed. Well, that's the understatement of the year. He threatened to castrate me if I didn't leave him alone this morning. Yagura blinked. How did you get out of that one? Utakata shrugged. He forgot right a second after since he was half asleep. Talking about people behind their backs is not nice. Naruto grumbled. Yagura and Utakata blinked, awake. Naruto nodded, yeah, now I am. Good, I don't want to be threatened again. Utakata rolled his eyes. Naruto scratched his head embarrassed, sorry. I'm not good in the mornings. Yagura sorted, so I've heard. Naruto chuckled, yeah. Some servants brought breakfast and they all sat down and started eating. Ugh, I have to go back to my team again. Naruto grumbled. Utakata looked at him, your team, you didn't tell me about them yet. Naruto sighed, my sensei is Sharingan no Kakashi, he's annoying and always late. Uchiha Sasuke, the last loyal Uchiha, can be broody and emo-ish, but when he's normal he is helpful and good to talk to. Then last, is Haruno Sakura. I have nothing good to say about her, she's a fangirl, trying to always impress Sasuke with the absolutely nothing she has. Yagura groaned, I hate fangirls. Naruto rolled his eyes, well that's obvious. Utakata breathed out a chuckled, yeah. Naruto quickly ate all of his food and so did the other two. Then, they got up and Naruto sighed. I gotta go, Yagura. He said. Yagura nodded, want to come with us Utakata? Utakata nodded, yeah, let's go. They all grabbed Yagura and their surroundings vanished and warped into different colors. They opened their eyes and blinked, they were outside an old house, which they heard talking. Naruto sighed and turned, this is my stop. Utakata and Yagura nodded, yeah. Naruto jutted his bottom lip out, you know what? That's not fair, we just met yesterday and have to part. Yagura chuckled, true, but I will find a way. Utakata smirked, I'm staying with Yagura so I'll see you too. Naruto nodded with a grin and waved, see ya then. Bye. Goodbye. Naruto knocked on the door, it opened and Tazuna blinked at him. You're back. He said stupidly. Naruto nodded, yeah, I am. He got allowed inside and he looked behind him where Yagura and Utakata were, but now weren't. With a smile in the direction they were a few minutes ago, Naruto whispered. I'll see you soon. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you enjoyed this what if and want to see next part of it, comment down below and let me know. Also share this video with your friends. See you in the next video. Peace.